Alright, hey gang, today we're going to do something pretty special. We are going to do, or attempt to do, Eruption on Les Paul Gold Top, Look Ma, no whammy bar. We have a couple of tricks in store for that, but anyway, this is more or less a version that is kind of something that's got me kicked out of McDonald's when I was a youth, and I deserved it for sure. Anyway, I am no Eddie Van Halen, that's for sure, but let's give it a shot, okay? Here it comes. That was fun. Hey, we're going to go over this note for note, but before we do, just a few things. Number one, this is tuned in E flat, so all of your strings have to be a half step down. Okay? So if you put them all a half step down, that's just like Van Halen did it. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I'm going to play this, I'm going to put special emphasis on the tricks that I use to play this without a whammy. And so that's number one. And what's cool about that is it's going to give us some other note choices too, because what you're doing is you're announcing to the audience that you're playing this in a different way that Eddie Van Halen would, because you don't have a whammy. And because of that, it's going to allow you to get away with a few other note choices that you wouldn't normally make if you were trying to play it exactly. Okay? In other words, if you're not Eddie Van Halen, that's me, you can get away with maybe easier choices, which is kind of cool. All right. Number three is, now, if you want to know all those techniques, that's fantastic. You can check out, and you should check out, Pete Thorne's How to Play Eruption. It's in 5 parts. It's just fantastic, and he's a fantastic player too. So lots of stuff there. Okay, so let's go over it. Here we go. Here's the first part. Here's the second part. Okay, now that second part, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about these unless they relate to the material that we're doing differently here. But this one is a little bit special. Here's a special lick that Van Halen used to do a lot. Sounds really impressive, right? Thing is, it's actually really easy. And here's how it works. You're going to play the 5th, hammer onto the 8th, and pull off to the 5th, and pull off to the open. But instead of playing just that over and over and over, you're going to play the next string down, and you're going to play that on the 8th, okay, which is the 3rd string, 8th fret. Now, the trick to playing this fast is to play a downstroke on the third string and an upstroke on the third string, on the third string 8, and an upstroke on the second string 5th fret. Yeah, I'm playing it like crap. All right, and even though I'm playing what sounds like a really fast line, check out my right hand. I don't have to do very much picking wise, so that's pretty good. Should also mention that some people play this with the third finger instead of the 4th finger and the pinky. I find that less comfortable just because my pinky is okay. I've developed it enough, and I have small hands. So there you have it. All right, here's the next part. All right, so the first part's kind of a rake, and then we're walking down the blues scale. And now here's that part again, this part. All right, so that, again, to play fast, the key is to essentially pick up on that 4th, and the rest is just hammer on and pull off. This is a downstroke on the 4th string, 7th fret, upstroke on the 3rd string, 4th fret, like so. All right, and if you mute the right hand, you get an aggressive sound. All right, and if you're Paul Gilbert, you pick it off. I'm not Paul Gilbert either. All right, anyway, that's that part. Now here's the part that comes into our cool little trick. Here we go. All right, that's our first dive bomb. Now, it's actually pretty obvious to dive bomb by detuning the guitar, right? Here's the dive bomb. The problem with dive bombs, and what's cool about them on a whammy, is you can leave them there, dead in the string, pull up the whammy later, and you're back in tune. But look what happens if you don't on our trusty Les Paul, right? Oh, God, I'm out of tune. So on this one, what Van Halen actually does, and I'll demonstrate by using a pitch bend, he goes down, he dives down on the 6th string, and he dives back up, if that makes sense. He comes back up on the A string, the 5th string. And we can't do that. That's two problems for us. One is we're going to leave our 6th string detuned, and number 2 is our 5th string isn't already detuned, so we can pull it back up. So that sucks. So we have to solve that somehow. Here's how we do it. We go down on the 6th string and back up on the 6th string. We play what will be an A note, which is right here, 5th fret, on the 6th string. So check it out. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. All right, practice that. Give a real aggressive knockdown. Now, I happen to use my left hand to do this, to do the detuning, and my right hand to thwack as hard as I can on that 5th fret, 6th string. Okay, some people might like to pull over like this with the right hand. That's okay, you can maybe do that. Just realize that you're going to have to really thwack on that 5th fret, 6th string. Otherwise, you won't get it back up there. And just another hint: if you have long sleeves, I have short sleeves here. You got to watch for the long sleeves deadening that out on the guitar. All right. Anyway, so that's that one. Pretty cool trick. I like that one. All right. Now that we've done that. 3 power chords. Okay, so that's A power chord, G power chord, and D power chord. We're going to slide it all the way up. to the 17th, I'm sorry, to the 17th position, it's going to come up to the to like the 20th fret. Now I also when I do this, I kick on the phase delay, so it sounds like this. Okay. Okay, and I'm ready. Here I've got more stuff on it this time. All right. I kick on the phase delay. We'll do that in just a second. Anyway, some people, I should also note that some people like the double to play the D twice. All right, before they go up. All right, so here we go. So this, by the way, is the hardest part. The next part is the hardest part. So, or the next 2 or 3 parts are the hardest ones in the song, in my opinion. Oops, let's play that again. Okay, so that one is simply standard blues lick, right here in 17th fret. That's the blues scale. We're just going to bend that one up, you see? Rake up to the 17th, play its 20th, 21st, 19th on the 2nd, 20th and open, 20th and 17th. 20th and bend that a little bit up and down. Again, it's like this. Okay. Pretty cool line. Tough to play. A little bit tough to play. Here's the second part. Okay. One more time, slowly. All right, you notice that little Led Zeppelin type of lick, like on Stairway to Heaven. All right, it's the same thing. All right, here's again, the hardest part. All right, that's kind of a whole tone scale. It's hard to figure out, and so it's these notes right here. I'll go through them exactly. 18th on the 3rd, you play the 18th. Then you play 16, 18, 20 on the 2nd. Then you play 16, 17, 20 on the 1st. And then you skip to the 3rd and you play the 18th. And you play the 17th on the 2nd and the 20th on the 2nd. Now it sounds crazy, it sounds crappy alone, but in the context of the song, it actually sounds good. And here it is again, a little bit sped up. Now, that is very tough to play. So I'm going to show you, if you're going, oh my God, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to show you an easier way to do it. Here's, because it's a whole tone scale, you can get away with just playing this and hit the right notes at the end, and it's going to work out. Here it is. Oops. Much, much easier. Why is that? Well, it's basically just a whole tone scale. You play the 18th on the 3rd, and then you'll play 16, 18, 20 on the 2nd, 16, 18, 20 on the 1st, 16, 18, 20 on the 3rd. Because it's all the same there, your fingers learn it much more easily. So it sounds like this. Very easy, simple, sounds almost exactly the same. And there you go. Is it cheating? Yeah, but I think Van Halen would approve. He was into cheating and doing that kind of stuff, and he improvises his stuff anyway. So I think he would approve of that. But who do I know? I mean, I don't know. He'd probably say, no, man, you can't play it that way. Whatever. That's the way I do it. All right, so again. All right, here's the last part of that. All right, So it starts by, I do a little bit of a rake, but you don't even have to do that. To the 17th on the 1st fret, and then you're going to hammer on and pull off, hammer on and pull off to the 20th. You're going to do that twice. Slide down to the 14th, play that. Play the 15th, and then play the 14th again. So it sounds like this. Okay? Okay? Then you're going to play the, on the 2nd, you'll play the 17th, 14th, then you'll play the 17th on the 3rd, back up to the 14th on the 2nd. Now bend that 17th on the 3rd. Just a half step. Now, why do I bend that? Okay, so this is a little bit different, and this is actually where Van Halen uses a whammy. So he plays it kind of like this. I'm going to try and do it again with a pitch bend, and this is kind of how it sounds. Okay? Because he uses the whammy there, this confronts us with some problems. I can't play that 3rd string detuning trick anymore. Whammies bend the strings down, generally speaking. Some bend them back up too. But anyway, whammies are going to bend the string down. So what we have to do is, whereas a bend bends it up. So what we have to do is bend it up pre and then pull it down and up a couple of times. So that's what happens. So this is what happens here. So instead of, oops, I play, so I bend up a step and a half on the 14th and then bring it down and up, down and up, down and up, and then finally land on that 14th on the 3rd. Okay? Now if you don't want to bend up a whole step and a half, you can play on the 15th and bend a whole step. And that sounds just fine too. Here's the whole line. Oops, let me play the whole line right. And I like to also try and get in a pick harmonic, which I can't do now. Anyway, all right, so that's that one. More whammy action coming up in just a moment. Now he does a little transition. We're going to do the transition to this part. Okay, so that part right there. Now that transition is done like this. Again, I'm going to illustrate with the pitch bend. Okay, so he just goes down on the, he dive bombs on the 6th and he leaves it there. Okay, and then, oops, then he's ready to do the rest of it. Again, we can't do that. So what I'm going to do is what I do is I try and make just a lot of noise with this, and I simulate a dive bomb. I go down, I come back up, and then I hit an open string. So I do this. All right. So the way I do that, I don't know if you think that sounds good, great. If you don't, then do something else. But the way I do that is I just start from, I don't know, somewhere around the 15th fret, give it a nice little thwack, go down to about the 2nd, and pull off and do an open string note. Immediately, I'm back up and I deaden it around the 15th string. I try and leave it dead. Okay? And then when I get to the top, I'm trying to deaden it with the bottom of my palm, and with the top of it, I hit the open E string. Okay? So like so. All right, now I deaden it because I know that in the next part, which is this, I have a tendency to leave these open strings ringing a little bit, and that's bad. You don't want that happening. So you even see in the video where or in the demo, I take a little extra time, and with my hand, I kill those strings. I just don't want to hear the ringing there. All right, again, that's like this. Okay, here's the next part. Okay, so first of all, the tremolo picking, hard to do, takes a lot of practice. Key is to relax and not move too much. When I see people do this, they tense up like crazy on the right hand. Try not to do that. I do it myself, so I'm guilty of it as well. Try not to do that, and you'll do better. Second thing, I've just noticed of myself, I tend to pull my pick sideways across that string, and maybe I just learned that when I used to play mandolin. I don't know what it was. Anyway, just what I do. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but if it helps you, great. If not, you can file that away under the in the circular file. Okay, again, that's... Now here we're going to play 3-2 open, and then walk down on the second string 5-3-1, and then bend up on the third string second a whole step. That's hard to do. Pull off to the first, and then we are, even though Van Halen doesn't do this, we are going to hit the fourth string second fret, which is an E, or I guess in this case we've tuned it down to an E flat, but it's an E. Why do we do that? Well, it's because we're going to do a dive bomb again, and this one goes very, very low, and we have to tune it back up. So the trick I've learned is to leave that note ringing a little bit so you can hear it when you tune back up and you can nail the right tone. So check this out. Notice leaving that ringing really allowed us to hit that tone exactly. Check it out. Perfectly tuned. Okay? So, again, that's... Okay, you're not going to hit that E chord. All right, so that's that part. Now you're into the stretch. And you know, the rest of this doesn't really have any dive bombs until the very, very end. And that's not really even a dive bomb. That was a different Van Halen trick. But anyway, we're just going to put it in for completeness. But basically, that's it for the tricks. Okay, so here's the rest of the song. Here's this part right here. Okay, and then we just do the same thing again that we did the first time. All right, so to do that, let's go over that first line right here. Okay, so that one is you're sliding up to the 7th, and then you're going to play 5-7 and pick really quickly. And then this is another one of those Van Halen tricks. He's playing the 5 open, and then hitting the fourth. I think some people play the 7th on the 4th string. Some people play the 8th. Sounds pretty close. Can you really tell the difference between this and this? Yeah, there's a little bit of a difference, but whatever. You know, I've seen it both ways. I tend to play this one. And then we're playing the 6th on the 2nd, and then open. And then on the 3rd, we'll play the 9th. The 9th. And then we just shift the whole thing up 2 frets. Oops. Okay? So that's what that is. All right, so you do that kind of twice. Then you come down to this. You come down to this. Then you come down to this. And you're ready to do the tapping. Okay, so we'll do the tapping very quickly. I am terrible at, I suck at tapping, so as if you don't already know that. So I'm just going to go over this really quickly. The key, at least for me, is to do it as slowly as possible. I don't have, unfortunately, my hands are not big enough to do tapping comfortably with 1st and 3rd down here, but up here I feel like I need it to do this faster, so I have to switch. If you can get away with not switching and just do 1st and 3rd, you're in big time luck. So here's the tapping. The first one we're going to do is 9. The tap is on the 9 and the flutter is on the 2 and 5. 8 of those. Then we're going to tap on the 10, keeping the same flutter, 2 and 5. Then we're going to keep the same tap on 10, and we're going to move up the flutter to 4 and 7. Okay, then we're going to go to the tap on the 12th. And we're going to flutter on 5 and 9. That is a tough stretch, at least it is for me. All right, then we are going to go to the 13th and play the flutter, tap on the 13th and play the flutter on 5 and 8. Okay, then we're gonna. He precedes his tap. He moves his tap hand first, plays 2 of those, and then he moves up like so. Okay, so there's 2 taps with the 15th and the flutter on the 5 and 8th, and then it moves up to 7 and 10. And then same thing here. He goes to the 17th for 2 of them. And that last one is the 17th with the flutter on the 10, on the 9 and 12. And now here's the cascading lick going downward. 2 taps on the 17th with the flutter on the 12th and 15th. Then you move that down 1. And you move that down 1 again. And you move down 1 again. And you repeat that whole thing. All right, again, that would be like this. Oops. All right, here's the whole thing. Then you immediately go down to this one. Again, the same spacing. So you got the 15 with the flutter on a 10 and 13. And then you move down 1 each time until you get to that that sweet spot, like so. Now this time you don't repeat it, but you just go down to 13 and do the same thing. Again, the spacing starts at 2 away with the tap on the 13 and a flutter on the 9, on the 8th and 11th, and then goes down 1, another 1, and another 1. And then finally, here's your last one, 12 with the flutter on the 4 and the 7, 8 of those, and then you go up to the same tap on the 12th, but the flutter on the 5 and 8. And then back to the 4 and 7. And now the last part is the toughest one. You go back and forth. So you do the flutter on the 5/8, and then on the 4/7, then the 5/8, then 4/7, and back and forth. You do that 8 times. I'm getting kind of tired and sloppy, but anyway, that's the way it goes. And all right, so here's that whole tapping sequence. I'll try and play it slowly. Up. Then to end it, we do this. Then you do a slide down to an open E, and then you do a harmonic on the 12th. And now, if you're lucky enough to be at Van Halen and have a tape echo, or you have a digital delay, you can do it with a delay as well. You can kind of do this, but we're going to do it the old-fashioned way and just do it with our D tune and so forth. And that's it. Okay. The little pitch bend works as well. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this one. This was a long one. I enjoyed making it, and I hope you learned something. I had a blast doing it. And leave your comments and let me know what you thought, and we'll see you on down the road. Okay, take care.